Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Mike Porter of Bacon Brothers Public House Franchise. And started in Greenville, South Carolina, Bacon Brothers Public House features a straightforward, made-from-scratch menu. Bacon Brothers Public House offers delicious quality food at an incredible value. We're going to talk to Mike about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you are listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise interviews from Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia. You're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the Franchipreneurs who own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Mike Porter of the Bacon Brothers Public House franchise. And started in Greenville, South Carolina, Bacon Brothers Public House features a straightforward, made-from-scratch menu. Bacon Brothers Public House offers delicious quality food at an incredible value. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Marty, how are you? I'm glad to be here, excited to be on your radio.
Oh, thank you so much, Mike. It's a pleasure to have you. We always like to ask our guests, where are you calling from this morning?
I'm calling from Greenville, South Carolina, home of Bacon Brothers Public House.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, we started this show over 10 years ago, Mike, and, you know, one of the reasons we started the show is we found that, you know, every franchise like yours has a story. And when I was reading about your story, I was really intrigued. You know, it sounded like it was like, you know, four guys at a meeting, you know, just kind of brainstorming different ideas. And that was kind of one of the catalysts, wasn't it, for, you know, Bacon Brothers coming about, wasn't it?
Oh, it absolutely was. It's a funny story. And I love telling the story. As you said, it's four guys sitting around brainstorming. And we had the restaurant space. We're meeting with our chef, our operations guys, on the four Bacon Brothers, as we call ourselves. Right. And we're eating bacon, and we start talking about how much we love bacon. And then our chef says, you know, I could do all these wonderful things with bacon. And he starts naming off all these fantastic, amazing dishes. He's an amazing chef, Anthony Gray. And as we wrap up the meeting, we toast each other, similar like the Three Musketeers, but we say, to the Bacon Brothers. And boom, we said, there's our name, there's our concept, let's do this. And it's a great story, but I think sometimes some of the greatest businesses and franchises out there come from similar accidental stories where you just sitting around brainstorming like that.
It's interesting, Mike. I mean, again, you know, we've been doing the show 10 years, you know, and we have a handful of stories like that, you know. And when I read yours, I said, oh, my God, I have to have you on the show because I truly love this story. You know, I think it's fantastic. How do you typically describe to someone, you know, if you were at a franchise show, Mike, and, you know, someone came up to your booth and they said, so, you know, what do you guys do? How do you typically respond from there?
Well, our typical response is, first of all, we're a little different than most franchises out there in that we are a full-service, full bar restaurant, and our food it's Southern comfort food with a twist to it because it's a chef-driven menu. So, and there's a little bit of bacon infusion in a lot of our dishes. Our hamburger, for example, is ground brisket with bacon ground up in it. Our number one seller is deviled eggs with prosciutto ham and a little devil's dust on top of it as well. A little spice, just so it's taken it just to a little higher level than your typical Southern comfort food. But on top of that, we try to locally source as many of the produce and meats as we can. So we can tell you that this pork, for example, came from this farm, or this produce was grown here locally. And so it gives that extra freshness, and you know the meat's fresh when you see them bring a slab of bacon through the dining room from the walk-in cooler and take it right into the kitchen to slice that bacon right off of that.
That's fantastic. It sounds to me like Bacon Brothers is also an experience, Mike, you know, for someone who's never been in one before, you know, just from the whole environment and just the way you described, you know, Bacon Brothers. Would you agree with that?
Oh, it is. Definitely is. Our mission statement is good food, good service, and a good environment. And we think if you hit a home run on all three of those, then you're going to be successful. So as our customers come in, they get fine dining service. Our staff are all trained in fine dining, but they're dressed in blue jeans and Bacon Brothers T-shirts, so it's still a very casual atmosphere. Come in your suit and tie or come in your workout clothes and just be comfortable, enjoy the food, enjoy the experience. And it's a very casual restaurant. The interior is recycled pallets and all wood, nice warm interior that it's very comfortable.
That's great. Here's the tough question, Mike, is what's one of your favorites, you know, when you go into a Bacon Brothers, because you get to visit a lot of them, don't you?
Oh, yeah, what's my favorite? It's hard to say. I really love the deviled eggs. I've eaten a lot of those deviled eggs. The deviled eggs are really good. And we serve breakfast for supper, which is just bacon and eggs.
Wow.
You can't go wrong with bacon and eggs.
No, you can't.
Then there's days you get in there and say, man, I want a grilled cheese sandwich. And our grilled cheese sandwich, of course, it's a grilled cheese, but we throw a lot of pulled pork on there as well. So it's I've never had anything there that wasn't delicious, and I'm pretty optimistic about everything on our menu.
That's terrific. These shows are always tough for me, Mike, before lunch, so I had to kind of prep myself to have a big breakfast. I knew I was going to be starving after talking to you today.
Oh, exactly. I may have to go to Bacon Brothers after we hang up.
Exactly. How's technology played a role in the business today, Mike? Or how is, Bacon Brothers using technology today in the franchise?
Mm-hmm. It's funny. In a simple restaurant, you wouldn't think technology is that important, but we have learned as we franchise the importance of the technology, primarily in our point of sale system and our loyalty app programs. We have a loyalty app that you can download from Google Play and the iTunes. And how many years ago was it the apps? Nobody knew what an app was. Right. So now in the restaurant industry, you've got apps for loyalty programs, and you've got gift cards that are electronic gift cards, and even technology's even stepped into our smoking process. Our smokers in the restaurants are all technical and electronic, so we throw a brisket in there and we say, okay, we're going to smoke this brisket for 18 hours at this temperature, and hit the button and walk away and come back in 18 hours, and you got a perfect brisket.
It makes it much easier today, technology, doesn't it, Mike? I guess compared to maybe a decade or 2 decades ago, right? Like compared to the old days.
Oh, absolutely. A few years ago, you had a man standing there watching that brisket, and you've got that payroll cost. Now you got a machine doing all the work for you, and it's the best brisket I've ever eaten.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I guess it's pretty safe to say, Mike, you're part of a pretty big industry, aren't you? Are there any numbers in the industry? The restaurant industry, of course, in itself is, we're talking billions of dollars. Are there any numbers?
I was actually looking that up, and I know that the restaurant industry, as you said, is billions of dollars per year. It's probably a $700 billion a year industry, and it's growing. It's growing so fast. Bigger. I think it's growing $200 million a year, or billion, incredible. I should say, $200 billion a year, and
that's great.
Every time you turn around, there's a new restaurant, new concept coming up. And I think that's what sets Bacon Brothers apart is the Southern Comfort food is really hot. People love that Southern Comfort food to get their bellies full. And then you've got the little bacon twist to it, and who doesn't love bacon?
That's true.
And then on top of that, the locally sourced menu, which is important to everybody nowadays.
That's terrific. Our listeners, Mike, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. Most of them have it in their mind, that they're looking to buy a franchise. What types of characteristics, do you look for in your franchisees?
Mm-hmm. Well, we look for somebody that is as passionate about what we're doing as Bacon Brothers Public House as we are, and that's still passionate about the locally sourced, the chef-driven menu, and the good customer service, and that's going to make sure that our customers, when they come into Bacon Brothers, just like you said earlier, that it's an experience. It's not just dining and good food, but it's experience, and they're having a good time. And if we award someone a Bacon Brothers, we don't only treat them as a franchisee. We treat them as if they've become a Bacon Brother. So it's part of an elite club, almost like the Rat Pack. So hey, congratulations, you're a Bacon Brother. Welcome to the club. You're part of our family now.
That's terrific. What is the training like, Mike, for new franchisees? Once you decide, that you do like them, and they like you and they want to come aboard, do they typically come to headquarters then for training? Is that how it works?
Yes, they'll come here. We've got a pretty extensive training because our menus more complicated than a lot of restaurant franchise menus are. So they'll come to our restaurant here in Greenville, South Carolina, our flagship property, and they'll go through a 6 to 8 week training program, and they'll be trained everything from the hostess staying to the waiting on the tables to opening and closing the restaurant. But additionally, the kitchen chef will be trained on how to prepare every menu item. So they'll spend 6 to 8 weeks in our kitchen prepping. And then on the first week or two that restaurant is open, we'll send a staff of people to that franchisee's restaurant and continue the training on his location.
That's great, which makes them feel a lot more comfortable, too, of course, when they open the restaurant, Mike.
Right, exactly. And that's our job, to support them. So once they're open,
right,
if they've got problems, questions, they can make a phone call, shoot us an email. If we need to, we'll send a team or a person down there to help them out.
That's fantastic. What do you typically look for in a location, Mike? And, how much space is typically required to open up a Bacon Brothers?
Well, we're looking at 4,500 to 5,500 square feet, probably about 150 seats in the typical Bacon Brothers, 120 to 150. And we find that we do well in kind of strip centers and communities.
Right.
It becomes a destination, but also becomes a residential restaurant where the local residents want to come to it as well.
That's terrific. How would you describe, because you've been doing this a while now, Mike, a typical day for a franchisee, from, the moment they come in to the middle of the day and close up, how does that typically work?
Mm-hmm. Well, the typical franchisee, like you said, is going to come in the morning, and they'll probably have kitchen staff already in there smoking meats, prepping for the day.
Right.
They come in early in the morning making crackers and everything that needs to be made in-house, making sure there's plenty of ribs and barbecue and deviled eggs and everything that you need. And then he's going to open the restaurant and greet the customers as they come in. And, the franchisee's primary job, I think, is to make sure everything's running smooth with his staff, and the staff are properly trained. But in addition to that, to meet and greet the customers as they come in and be the face of that restaurant.
Right. It's so important. Absolutely. You've been doing this for a while now, Mike. And again, I was mentioning to you earlier, a lot of our listeners, we call them aspiring entrepreneurs. Most of them want to get into a franchise, but we find from doing the show such a long time now that, most of them are confused as far as where to even begin, because there's so much out there today. So from everything you know and learned up to this point, what advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise?
Mm-hmm. I think the most important thing in buying a franchise, and like I said earlier, you've got to be passionate about what you're doing. So you've got to find something that you're willing to commit a 10, 15-year commitment to. It's more than a job. It's more than an investment. It's something that you're committed to. So you've got to find a franchise, whether it's a Bacon Brothers or anything else that you're really passionate about, and you're willing to commit the time and the money to make it successful.
Yeah. And that passion is so important, isn't it, Mike? It's been a common theme on our show, over the last decade is, I guess anybody could recognize the financial potential of a Bacon Brothers, but I guess, having that passion is certainly going to take you to the next level and make it so much more successful.
Absolutely, and as I said earlier, that when we award a franchise to somebody, we treat them as a Bacon Brother. They become a Bacon Brother, and that passion is the first thing that we look for. You've got to be passionate about being a Bacon Brother.
That's terrific. What are the plans for the future then, Mike? If you can look into a crystal ball, and say maybe 3 to 5 years down the road, where do you see Bacon Brothers?
Well, we see Bacon Brothers obviously expanding in the Carolinas. We've already got franchise in Texas, the Sugar Land, Texas market. So we plan to expand the Texas market. We're also looking into Florida and Tennessee, and probably up into the Virginia and up in that area of the country as well. And wherever we think the Bacon Brothers would do well, it's we expect to grow 3 to 5 restaurants per year. So 3 to 5 years out, we should have maybe 20, 25 restaurants out there.
That's terrific. Well, I'm waiting for you to come up to Easton, Pennsylvania. I can see, bacon is really it's America, isn't it? It really applies to you could say really any state, and I guess even international, at some point, so you can really see it kind of like mushrooming, throughout the whole country.
Oh, definitely. And we have a lot of fun with the word bacon. It's obviously in our name, which draws people to the restaurant as well. But and we have a lot of T-shirts that we sell, and their staff wear. That's great. Powered by bacon. Bacon makes me sizzle. Just little slogans that we've come up with we just have a lot of fun with it. And people come in the restaurant, and sometimes they expect to see everything's bacon, or they expect to see a typical barbecue restaurant, and then they're surprised when they sit down. And we've got bacon in some of our drinks, and we've got bacon in a lot of the dishes. But then they enjoy the food, and they find out this the best brisket they've ever had.
Yeah,
it's the best pulled pork I've ever had, because it's locally sourced pork. So you're getting a better quality of meat that makes a better sandwich.
That's terrific. What's the best way, Mike, for our listeners to get more information on Bacon Brothers, as the restaurant, and of course as the franchise opportunity? Are there any websites that they can go to get more information?
There definitely is. They can go to Bacon Brothers, and spell out the word brothers, foodgroup.com. And they can click on there. There's all kinds of franchise information. My contact information is on there as well. The history of Bacon Brothers, and then there's also a link to the Bacon Brothers Public House Restaurant. In case they're hungry, they can find out where the nearest Bacon Brothers is and go get something to eat.
Well, you've made me very hungry, Mike, so I really appreciate talking to you today. The website is fantastic, by the way. I had a chance to, go through it, and it's just, and I got to see a lot of the videos on YouTube and things like that, and I just think it's such a wonderful franchise opportunity, and I'd already like to invite you back next year as you continue to grow. I think this is a great opportunity.
Well, that'd be great, Marty. Give us a call anytime. We'd be glad to be on your show.
That's wonderful. It was a pleasure talking to you, Mike, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Coming up on segment 2, you're going to hear what every franchipreneur needs to know before buying a franchise. We're going to play a clip from our popular Great Quotes in Franchising podcast right here on Franchise Interviews.
Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities, or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822. Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 8 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Today's Great Quote in Franchising is being brought to you by
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stonecoat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott, the president of Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising. For each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews now all years, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on the show. Today you're going to get to hear from Lawrence Cohn, who is a veteran of the franchise industry, who first franchised Great American Cookies 33 years ago. He became the first ever franchisee inducted into the International Franchise Association Hall of Fame, and you're going to get to hear from him right now.
What made you decide to go into franchising, Doc? I mean, again, you had, a couple different choices, I guess, at that time of your life. What was it about, becoming a franchisee?
Well, I had been part of other startups, and I knew just how difficult it was to begin a concept. So let's just say I had wanted to be Doc's Cookies. Mm-hmm. I could have done that. I could have said, all right, well, now I've got to develop a recipe. I've got to do my marketing program. I've got to get the financing. I've got to do an operations manual. I've got to figure out how to do it. I've got to figure out where the locations ought to be. And your franchising, a lot of that's done for you already. A franchise provides a concept that's been proven and tested. Somebody else has done all that work. The systems are typically in place and have been revised over time to prove that they can be successful, and it was just a great way to go.
Question I've been dying to ask you is, what's changed in franchising? I mean, you've been involved in it for such a long time now. What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen, Doc, over that time?
Well, there have been a number of them. I think probably the most significant is the level of sophistication of the franchisee today, as opposed to when I went into it. And I don't think I'm the most unsophisticated person in the world looking back, but I really went into this without doing sufficient homework. And so, as I said, a lot of this was luck back then. Today, franchisees are much more likely to have very strong legal advice, very strong financial advice, are familiar with things like business plans. I didn't know what a business plan was when I went into business. I had no idea what a business plan was. And today's franchisees are much more knowledgeable about those things. And today, franchisees are more likely to be multi-unit and multi-brand. That's something that has changed significantly over the years, is that today you find franchisees like myself, in fact, that operate multiple brands and sometimes across different companies. So, we have 2 brands for my own franchisor, and then I operate actually 3 other concepts.
Wow, it's interesting. Are you surprised about the number of franchise systems and the number of industries that are now franchising, Doc? I mean, when you first got into this, going back 33 years ago, I mean, there weren't as many systems, there weren't as many industries. I guess it might have been maybe a little easier to get into franchising because it seems like there's so many choices and so many industries today. Are you surprised at the number of systems and industries?
No, not at all. I mean, it's funny because 33 years ago, I was thinking, oh my gosh, how do I get to be a franchisee? You must really have to know somebody to get one of these franchises. And what I think's happened over the years is that as franchising has grown, people have recognized that it's such a great way to grow a business. So you have an entrepreneur who has this great idea, and the entrepreneur develops the idea and sees it bloom, and he or she gets going with it, and it's really fantastic. And then somebody else sees it and says, "Gee, that's a great idea. I'd like to do it." And as an entrepreneur, you may be sitting there with limited capital, and you say, "Well, yeah, I can teach you how to do this," and you you really get excited about the prospect of teaching someone else how to do the business that you've developed and grown. And I think that's what's exciting about franchising. And that's why I think, for one reason anyway, why franchising has grown. It's a great way for an entrepreneur to get more rapid growth of a concept that he or she has developed.
Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.